Well, man, we got a busy day for you guys in the world of Switch 2 rumors, leaks, and reports. We have a bunch of outlets reporting on some what appears to be legitimate stuff. Also, part of this story, after deeper diving, does appear to be fabricated, but there doesn't mean that there's not some truth to some of the other stuff being said here. And I did some digging. I did a lot of deep dive into this. That's why this video is coming a bit later in the day. I was going to have it out this morning because a lot of the stuff broke this morning. But you know, when you have breaking news like this, you could go and rush a video out, of course, or you could take your time to actually dig into it, verify everything, maybe reach out to some friends and all of that, and just kind of let things settle down a bit. And I decided to let things settle down a bit today because we got some big stories. First off, we have some Chinese accessory manufacturers that have already begun to sell accessories for Nintendo Switch 2 on Alibaba. I double checked. These listings are real. This is legit. You can buy Switch 2 accessories right now. Pretty wild. Yeah. One of these accessories apparently, by the way, had the Nintendo Switch 2 logo. That's what's being stated anyways. I haven't actually been able to find this listing or any images of it. So does this mean it's going to be called Nintendo Switch 2 because they're being listed as Switch 2 accessories? That's a whole different story. But also, how about this? How about a report from a reliable outlet, one of the most reliable outlets in Spain, that we know the month the Nintendo Switch 2 is releasing? Pretty wild, right? All right, guys, what are you waiting for? Let's go ahead and get into this by reminding you first that, hey, we're on our road to 140,000 subscribers. If you enjoy all of the news we're bringing, all the rumors and speculation and leaks for Nintendo Switch 2, all you gotta do is subscribe right here for more. And without further ado, let's get into the first story. This one deals with the accessories. So we're over here at Eurogamer, and it says Switch 2 cases and screen protectors already for sale via Chinese sellers. Molds made from genuine console precise measurements. So basically, I think Family Boards was the one who originally dug it up. But when we look at this, we get a couple interesting comparisons. So this right here, this screen in front is a screen protector for the original Switch. So your base model Switch, been available since March 3rd, 2017. That's what this screen protector is. This screen protector behind it, that is for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now look, it's very similar to the Switch 1. It has the same two notches, just like on the original Switch, but it doesn't have the notch here. This notch here, you see on the front panel, is actually for a light sensor. So Nintendo might have moved the light sensor to the top of the console or something. I've speculated on this before based on some of the CAD images. We saw that maybe the light sensor was moved from the front to the top. Either way, it could just be because there's not enough bezel room to put it in there because that's in the bezel area. So it could just be that there's not enough bezel to put the light sensor on the front. Either way, that's a pretty massive size difference. Now remember, the Switch OLED's also bigger than this, but not quite as big as that. This is just giving a nice comparison to Switch 1 to Switch 2. Switch 2 is a significantly larger beast. Now, the other images that we got, and it's not really being shown here, so I'll go grab it at another source, is, of course, cases, right? Cases that you have to store the damn thing in. So when talking about the cases, obviously we're going to go over here to the Gaming Leaks and Rumors Reddit. We have our Alibaba listings here, but let's go ahead and just look at the images here. So this is of one of the cases here. We're seeing, hey, you know, here's the one with the white stripe. Here's one with the black. So you got these two different options here. And again, we'll link to this post and the links on Alibaba as well. But as you scroll down, you see, you know, more of it. Now, this kind of just looks like a traditional Switch case. The measurements on it are quite interesting because that's almost a foot wide. 290 millimeters is very close to being a foot wide, which is, yeah, that's bigger than current Switch cases. And then you see the two bumps on the back. This is clearly where your LR, your shoulder buttons, all that stuff. This feels like pretty typical. So this case doesn't really tell us a whole lot about Switch 2 other than there's clearly not like an ergonomic bump needed. So it doesn't look like they've added any like beef to the back of the controllers, which of course we haven't seen that in any of the prototypes either. But that's just kind of giving you a look at some of that stuff from other places. So in the end, this is obviously really interesting. It kind of gives us some fairly reliable confirmation anyways on the 8-inch screen size, because that's about roughly what that looks to measure to. So yeah, that's kind of what we get out of it. It's mostly just the confirmation that the system is bigger than the Switch by a pretty significant margin and has an 8-inch screen. So that's really all you can get out of that. Again, you can buy these accessories right now if you want, but there's some interesting stuff going on. When we go over to Nintendo, again, Nintendo being one of the most reliable outlets in Spain, they are widely considered, let's just say, you have outlets out there that are extremely clickbait and, don't really tell you the truth about things. Nintendo is not one of those such outlets. They're actually considered one of the most reliable Nintendo outlets in Spain. So we're going over here, and this is being translated, machine translated, by the way. I just want to let you guys know that machine translations are not perfect here, but it says exclusive Nintendo Switch 2 launch window, Switch successors being prepared for summer 2025. Bit of a misnomer. We'll get to that in a moment. But it says the successor for the Nintendo Switch is on the way. Nintendo plans to announce its next console before April 1st, 2025. And the latest details on its components show that it's being mass-produced in order to offer a scalper-proof stock when it goes on sale. But when will the Switch 2 be released? According to various sources accessed by Nintendo, so this is their report, Nintendo plans to launch Nintendo Switch 2 in the summer of 2025. This is interesting. So it says members of at least 6 development studios that are working on titles for the Switch successor have confirmed to us the console's launch window is between June and early July. Quite interesting. We'll talk about that in a bit. That is summer. If it's end of June or early July, that is summer. Now, it says Nintendo is reportedly planning to launch the new console in the second quarter of the fiscal year 2026. Again, yes, that would be true if it releases in July. Get to this in a moment. It's interesting because this report is kind of all over the place. But we'll get to the exact details here in a moment. So anyway, it says with this data, the most logical time frame is around mid-June, which is not summer. Oh my gosh, I just can't. I can't with this. Okay, moving on. Sorry, guys, I have a hard time reading stuff like this where they talk about how, it's scheduled to launch in summer. And then they're saying the most logical time is mid-June, which isn't summer. Spring runs until June 20th. Mid-June is spring. And it would be Q1 for Nintendo, not Q2 if it launches then. Q2 for Nintendo doesn't begin until July. Again, I know these are just minute details, but I do think that it actually matters when talking about this because there are other reports that this might corroborate if we frame it correctly. Anyways, there's more in here. So it says, the company of the launch of Switch 2 with a battery of announcements taking advantage of the usual period of Summer Game Fest and the traditional Summer Direct. These are the dates per excellence of the big revelations of the year. After contacting Nintendo about the matter, the company did not want to comment. There are still many unknowns, such as the price, which is rumored to be between 400 and 500 euros. The launch catalog or the new features the next generation console will bring. Now, this price is something I want to talk about because this is being double sourced, by the way. They're saying that that's the price. And then, our dear friend, one of the best insiders in the world, Samus Hunter, is out here quoting Game Reactor, who put out the more than €400 Euro thing, and it says this lines up with what I've heard. For the price, I heard it would have been on the lower side of this range, not 500, but most likely $399 to $499, depending on the region or tax included, and a late spring release like June. Now, look. Does Samus Hunter really know the price? Well, Samus Hunter stated the price stuff after that report went out. The problem with that report is it did say that it was rumored. And look, I was already diving into this, but then I saw this comment that had all the work done for me. I went through it all. It looks right. This is over on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors Reddit. So he said, I followed the sources in the article. This is really not that hard to do. First, the article by Game Reactor is actually a copy of the original article sourced from Nintendo. Okay, so Game Reactor was the one that a lot of people reported on today for an English source. But really, it's that Nintendo article I showed you. That Nintendo explicitly labels the price as a rumor. And it links to another article that they published. That article is from August. And it's a translation of a speculation article by Metro.uk. This article itself, the Kabutin.jp article, is a translation from a Japanese of a brief passage in a financial analysis by Hideki Yasuda, Toyo Securities analyst, that briefly speculates that Nintendo's financial position in the way to Switch 2. And it reads, at the moment, no details have been announced about the successor to the Switch. But according to various reports, it will be released in the first half of next year, and the price will be relatively low on the dollar basis. Under $499? Question mark. And the performance will be similar to that of the PlayStation 4 Pro or lower. So the source of the price speculation is none. There is no actual source. It's generic speculation that 3 different websites misinterpreted as actual info. Yes, folks, the whole it'll be more than 400 euro rumor, it's not even a rumor. It was an analyst just randomly throwing something out there as a guess. That guess cycling through 3 or 4 different articles, suddenly now it's a rumor. You pass things around enough, it starts to become believable, right? So I want to be very clear. That more than 400 euro thing, there's no source. There is no rumor. There's nobody actually saying it. That is, except for now, after that article went up, Samus Hunter. And the funny thing about Samus Hunter is they're hedging their bets entirely. Because remember, most of us have speculated this system's going to be $399.99 US, right? $50 more than the Switch OLED. But here's the thing. Obviously, that would translate to whatever it does in other countries, you know, being 50 euros more and all that stuff. But here's the thing. Not 500, but most likely 399 to 449. So how is this what you've heard? More than 400 euros. I want to be clear. 400 euros is not $400 US, but even if they did 400 euros and then they did 399 US, right? So 399 euros, 399 US. More than that would tell you that it's more than 399 US. So my problem here is that Samus Hunter is claiming that they have their own sources, after that article went out, by the way, on the pricing. Now remember, Samus Hunter likes to take credit for everything. So in this case, they're hedging their bet by saying $399 to $440. So when it's $399, they're right, and they just knew, even though the report is more than 400, and they're saying that's what I heard as well. You're contradicting yourself, Samus Hunter. You can't say that I heard it's more than 400 euros, and then say actually it was $399, but maybe $449. No, you either know or you don't know. And the originating source on this entire price thing was a complete guess by an analyst that they even questioned themselves because they weren't 100% positive on any of it. Man, the pricing stuff just is frustrating because it's a classic case of if you pass things around enough on the internet, people start to think it's real. But this is why you got to dig into this stuff. I try to dig in when I can. Oftentimes, it leads to nothing. This time it led to, actually, we know where the price came from. It was a analyst in Japan, and the analyst wasn't saying that that's the price of the system. They were just throwing their own personal guess out that it'll be less than a certain number. Kind of weird. Now, if we go back to the rest of Samus Hunter's post, because of course she put up more and is getting a lot of attention for this, as late spring release, May/June release, depending on production numbers. Again, they're just matching what the article basically said, except the article said June/July. Of course, now they're saying mid-June. Get to that. Aiming for a $399 for an depending on taxes. Yeah, okay. And then presentations already confirmed for this fiscal year. Yeah, we already, well, technically it's not confirmed, but an announcement's confirmed. But anyways, January, February, no info on that now, which means you don't know shit. So look, I'm dismissing all the Samus Hunter stuff. I know a lot of you guys are starting to believe in Samus Hunter because she had a few things right. The biggest thing about some of those few things right is since those few things have come right, I've discovered that a lot of the things she said and got correct and got credit for were actually said in China on Weibo first. So I kind of think she's just scouring Weibo right now and grabbing from credible people over there and posting it as her own information because everything she's gotten right was said over there first. So Samus Hunter doing what we know Samus Hunter to do, stealing information, not crediting it, and claiming it as their own. That's kind of my feeling. That's what Samus Hunter used to do. I have no reason to believe she's not doing this now that I've become aware that there are sources out in China that were saying this before her, meaning she's not the original source. That all being said, and the fact that now Samus Hunter is building on top here. Again, I don't want to spend this whole video kind of trashing on Samus Hunter because I feel like it gets a little bit redundant. But the point here is that when we go back to the Nintendo Duo article, because this one I do think has a little credibility because they're using their own sources and they are considered reliable. And they did call the price a rumor. It's not even a rumor, but they help perpetuate it a bit, but it's not really a rumor. I do think that this article is interesting because it says, that the Switch 2 will come out between June and early July, but then it says the most likely is mid-June, which is spring. So here's the thing. Back when we heard about the internal delay back in February, a lot of reports were saying that they were hearing March at the earliest, which was like, it could be March, but it probably won't be, right? It'll probably be Q1 of Nintendo's new fiscal year. Q1 for Nintendo's new fiscal year is April through June. So it's April 1st to the end of June. So if they launch it in June, that is in Q1 of their fiscal year. If they launch it in mid-June, it is in spring for like 90% of the world. So I do believe that when we look at the overall outlook of all of this, it kind of just comes down to the fact that it does look like Nintendo is launching the Switch 2 during Q1 of their fiscal year. Q1 of their fiscal year is indeed within the first 6 months, which I've been saying for a while based on manufacturing, that, look, it's almost impossible for this thing to release outside the first half of the year. You want to go 1 week into July, fine, release it for my birthday. My birthday is July 5th. But still, look, that's really, really close. That's way closer to the first half of the year than it is like being deep into the second half and being like a winter, a late summer kind of release, like some people think. The bottom line is that I said the first half of this year several times based on the shipping data. It looks like June is becoming a more and more likely candidate. When are they going to announce it? Will it be April? Will it be February, March? Or is that Hom guy who deleted all this stuff, is he right, where he said January reveal, March release? Those are two conflicting reports. Obviously, this website, Nintendo, is much more reliable than this random user over on Weibo, who was right about stuff in the past as well, but, could have just got lucky. So we're going to sit back here and obviously label all of this as a rumor. This is all just rumor and speculation. We don't know, but it's a report from a reliable outlet that nobody seems to be able to corroborate, which is a little strange that there's no corroboration, but that's okay. In the end, Switch 2 is going to come when Switch 2 comes. Getting some confirmation on the 8-inch screen size is nice. That's just fact-based stuff from manufacturing, from accessories. Like I'm pretty sure that stuff's legit. But the whole June thing, we don't know. Could it be May instead? Sure. My understanding, based on people I have talked to, and I'm about to source on anything, so don't quote this stuff. But my understanding, based on people I talked to, is that Nintendo's just targeting Q1. There's no exact month given to any of the people I've talked to. So take that for what you will. June is in Q1, by the way. It's towards the end of Q1, but still within Q1. Still a very possible likely date. I mean, for a long time, April, May, June has been kind of considered the most likely times the system would come out anyways. It's just, when is Nintendo going to reveal it? Will they reveal it in March to release in June? Will they reveal it in January for June, February? Who knows? That's kind of what matters at this point, is just announcing it. Once it's announced, we could stop with the speculation on when it's going to come out, because they'll probably have at least a month in the announcement thing about when it's coming out, like arriving June 2025 or whatever, right? Like they'll probably have a month in there, even if they don't have a day. They could have a day, but they'll definitely have a month, and then they'll have all their marketing campaign and everything will work out. And I think getting it launched before Summer Game Fest could make a lot of sense, but also launching after Summer Game Fest is fine as well. Summer Game Fest is usually towards the beginning of June. Nintendo does like to do like a giant presentation in June as well. So again, that's why like a May release, to me, if I was betting, I kind of think May makes a lot of sense. But again, I can't get any confirmation on this June stuff, but it does come from a reliable outlet, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. All right, guys? But I just wanted to bring this all to you guys. You guys do with this information whatever you want, and I'll catch you in the next video.